Happy Saturday! Oh my God, college football is finally here. I know it was here last week, but this is like Christmas morning here for the WagerTalk family. This is Last Call. I am Kelly Stewart, and I'm going to be joining you every single Saturday until the college football playoff and the national championship. So you guys get ready. Hope you got your notepads ready. I got my list. I'm going to get some Steam report from VR. We're going to talk to Ross Benjamin from WagerTalk.com, as well as Art DiCesare joining us from the Westgate Superbook to give us a look behind the counter. We're going to go to him first. Art, what is going on, my man? You texted me yesterday. You said, hey, I'm going to be on Last Call. I was like, you are? I thought you were going to be so busy with your new show with Joe and the press, so I'm elated to have you here.
Kelly, every Saturday, this is what we do, and this is a great weekend, opening weekend. I know we've had week 0 and Thursday and Friday, but this is a great day. The book has a lot of energy. There's a lot of great games, so I'm excited to talk about all these games.
How is the buzz there at the Westgate Superbook? It is only 8 a.m. Pacific there. Are people starting to line up, get their bets in, get their seats? Is anybody drinking beer yet?
People are starting to line up. We open the counter an hour early. Obviously, the app is open a lot earlier than that. And, the football energy and the football buzz is always really great. It's great. We can even feel the energy in the back room, so that's always a good thing.
That's awesome. I felt the energy this morning when I saw the final count. $216,000 to first place for that Westgate inaugural college football contest. I am ready to run through a brick wall. Art DiCesare, I'm just going to let you go. I want you to talk about some of your biggest needs here for the morning slate. Then we'll get into some of the afternoon games and maybe even hit those couple of games for Sunday.
Absolutely. Let's just start in the morning. Syracuse, Tennessee, which is one of the marquee morning games, that's seen really good two-way. They've laid the 13.5 with Tennessee. They've taken the 14 with Syracuse. We're now 14 Tennessee, but we've kind of been going back and forth on that. FAU, Maryland, we saw really sharp over money at 57.5, got all the way up to 61.5. We've seen a little bit of a buyback on that under. We are now 60.5. This is a real interesting one. 9:45 Vegas kickoff time. Toledo and Kentucky. It's been nothing but Kentucky money. They laid 7.5. They laid 8. They laid 9. Got all the way up to 10. We saw a little bit of buyback on Toledo, but we're still going to need Toledo. We are very much buried to the Kentucky side. The Northwestern Tulane game split going from 5 to 6, 5 to 6, kind of back and forth. Here's another big need for us. We're going to need Southern Miss. They laid 12. They laid 13. They laid 14 with Mississippi State. We're now 14.5. A little bit of under money came in as well on 61. But I would say the big needs of the morning would be that Southern Miss game, like I mentioned. And we're really going to need we're probably going to need Texas if we want to get in, or Ohio State if we want to get into that game. Obviously, the early money has come in on Texas. We opened that game 3, got all the way down to 1, now back to 1.5. And don't forget, we're dealing minus 105 sides on that game. We always do 109 now on the college, but now we're doing 105 on the real marquee games. That and LSU are going to get that treatment this morning. So that's some of the early, like 9:45 a.m. kicks for Vegas.
All right, I was going to save this question for VR, but since you brought it up, minus 105 there at the Westgate, can you tell me what your money line is on Ohio State and whether it's smarter to lay minus 1.5, minus 105? I'm guessing you guys are probably minus 120. I apologize. I do not have my odds logic screen up at the moment.
Yeah, we are, Kelly. But like you said, when we were 1, right, minus 105, money line was, minus 115. So are you going to take Texas plus 1 minus 105? Or are you going to take minus 105 on the money line? So there was a lot of that where people were trying to figure that out. But now that we have moved to the 1.5, we are minus 120 on Ohio State on the money line. So, when we deal these 105s on these marquee games, and they're going to be tight spreads usually anyway on those games, you see pretty good two-way action. I mean, despite all the early Texas money, like I said, there was a little bit of a buyback on Ohio State this morning. And don't get me wrong, I think with games like that too, you're going to see a lot more of the kind of money that might come in on in-game stuff. You'll see that. People want to see the game kick off, maybe see a quarter, maybe see a couple of drives. So we see a lot of money too get in the pool on those in-games.
Awesome. Let's move along to some of those 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific games.
Yeah, I mean, not a ton with this slate Temple UMass, it's been an interesting game. We've seen a lot of UMass money all week, and since the lines have been open, 3.5, 3, 2.5. We're now 2. We'll need Temple in the game. Bama and FSU. I mean, we were 13 very early on, got to 13.5 quick, then got to 14. That seemed pretty good two-way. I mentioned this too earlier in the week with Joe and Prez that Bama, because they're in that range of like a, minus 550, minus $6 favorite, they're going to be very popular in all money line parlays. You're going to see a ton of 8, 10, and 12 team money line parlays on all the favorites. So it's like we just need one of those big dogs to come in, and maybe FSU is that one. I don't think it's going to happen, but it would be good to kill a lot of those money line parlays. And a lot of money on that Penn State under. That was 59.5. We're now 55. And there was a little bit of buy on Penn. Penn State was 44 this morning. I think we're 43 on that. So a little bit of money on the dog there. But that middle slate is not as good as, let's say, the later slate or the early slate.
All right, let's talk about that later slate. And then, of course, I want to hit some Sunday games and get your best bet before we get you out of here.
Yeah, I mean, this is where you really are starting to see some money. UTSA at A&M. This has been really one-sided. UTSA has seen all the money at 24.5 and 24. We're now A&M 23. We'll need A&M in the game. Rice at Louisiana. That was as high as 14. They took the 14 with Rice. They took the 13. We're now 11 on Louisiana at home. We will need them in the game. UVA and Coastal is interesting. UVA, saw money early, which moved the line all the way up to 13.5. There's been a little nibble back now on Coastal at the 13.5. Still probably will need Coastal in the game. The LSU-Clemson game. Early sharp money came in on Clemson at -3. And when we were at 4, we took some sharp money on LSU at 4. But we're now 4.5. So the Clemson money has kind of really overdone that other move. Like we saw sharp money in, sides, but we said, hey, we got to follow the market on this too. That has seen good money line action on LSU because we were a little bit higher because we were getting hit on Clemson. Also, that's a -105 game. So we'll see pretty good action on that. But right now we'll probably need LSU because just the overwhelming early money on Clemson has kind of just, moved that to where we'll need LSU in the game.
All right, perfect. Let's hit those Sunday games because I am on Virginia Tech. I got my odds logic screen open this morning, and then we'll get to Jack's question. By the way, if you guys have a question, drop it in the chat. Tell us what your best bet is for today. Tell us you love the show. Tell us you hate the show. Just drop a comment. Art, so I opened up my odds logic screen this morning, and I said, oh, my God, South Carolina, Virginia Tech down to 7. Now, what do I do? Nothing. I got a nice number in pocket. But these line moves, we saw it last night with Baylor. We've seen it with a couple of other games so far. We saw it with the NFL preseason, have been dead wrong. I'm a little nervous here that even though I have a good number in pocket with Virginia Tech, you guys might be cheering for Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, as we look at it now, we could, we will be. And obviously that's the earlier of the 2 Sunday games. Obviously the Miami Notre Dame game will carry the day. But with all the early Virginia Tech money, at some point, it's funny too, because it's 7 and not a lot of people tease college football, but there might be some teasers. There might be some 6, 7 point teasers in that range, probably more 6 point teasers. Once again, it's not like the NFL where the teasers really come in heavy day of game, but you could see maybe some things that get tied to either of those Sunday games or the Monday game where they kind of treat this like an NFL week where you have multiple days to bet. You could see some of that.
Okay, let's talk about that Notre Dame-Miami game. 2.5 is what I laid earlier in the week. Saw 3.5 at some shops. Did you guys get to 3.5 at the Westgate? Looks like right now you guys are sitting there steady at 3.
Yeah, we're 3. And, like you said, it's been bouncing back and forth. And I always say, quote unquote, maybe there's no key numbers in college football like the NFL. But when you're on football numbers, 3 and 7, you're going to go back and forth. You're going to be 2.5. You're going to be 3. We have not pushed to 3.5 yet. That could still happen. I think, as I said, with a lot of things that would be tied to Sunday, I think a lot of things are going to run into that Miami Notre Dame game. It's a night game. It's a big game. The big thing with that game is the way the total dropped. We opened 54.5. It got as low as 49. And now we went back up to 50. So you've seen a little bit of a buyback on the over.
All right, let's answer Jack's question. He wanted to know some of these biggest needs as far as who you're going to need to lose, right? You mentioned 8, 10, 12 leg money line parlays. Who are the 3, 4 you think are going to be the most popular?
Just like the most popular bets that would come in today. I mean, you know, I think when you look at those main games will see pretty good two-way action for the most part. You know, it's always the games that you don't expect. Like even like a late game, maybe we didn't talk about Cal at Oregon State. Like we're going to need Oregon State in that game. That's now Cal as a favorite. Cal's now a 1-point favorite. We saw a really respected guy take Cal plus 1.5. So we're looking at now as Cal is the favorite at -1. We're going to need Oregon State in that game. Another game that I didn't really touch on that was a super early game is the Purdue game. Probably going to need Purdue in the game. You know, it's never the games that you think. It's not like, oh, the Texas-Ohio State game will carry the day because for the most part, unless someone comes in because those are higher limit games and maybe drops a nice 5-figure bet, it's most of the smaller games that you see real big line movements on. I mentioned the Southern Miss game. Right now, that's our biggest need. We need Southern Miss against Mississippi State. Right now, as we talk, that's our biggest need.
That's just wild to think that on week 1 college, Southern Miss is going to be your biggest need. The Superbook unit is not going to be very happy. I know he is at the Purdue Ball State game. He told me he bet Ball State. Ooh, I don't know. It sounds like that you guys are going to need Purdue. All right, Art, I always appreciate you coming on Saturday mornings, giving us your time, that look behind the counter of the Westgate Superbook. Before we get you out of here, we, of course, need that best bet.
I have to pick the best game of the day, and I'm going to go with Ohio State. I'm taking them on the money line. I get that Texas is really good, and I think Ohio State's really good. They lost a lot of stuff. Ohio State lost coordinators, but Ohio State's at home. I feel like it's a cheap price. I feel like 3 was the right number, and now I'm not laying 3. I'm laying like -115, -120 on the money line. So give me Ohio State. I think they win the game.
All right, Art DiCesare, that just made my day. Make sure you guys give him a follow at ArtDice21 over there on X. You guys can also catch him with Joe Ranieri and the Prez on the best betting show ever here. And I've been muted this whole time. Where's my producer, Louie, yelling at me in the comment section? I got dogs squeaking in the background, a toy, so I thought I'd mute myself. Art, you are the best. You guys can catch him on the best betting show ever with the Prez and Joe Ranieri. You can also find him behind the counter there in the risk room at the Westgate Superbook. Art Dice 21 on X. Have a great day. Good luck to you, Art. We all need an awesome opening weekend. Appreciate you taking the time. Let's get into it. We'll get right over to VR, Gianni the Greek, as you guys know him. Get him right here in the mix. Ross, the boss, Benjamin waiting in the wings as well. VR, bringing you the Steam report right here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel right after last call. We're taking you guys up until kickoff. If you guys have questions for our handicappers, let us know. Drop it in the chat. Give us your best bet. VR, tell everybody what they can expect on the Steam room.
Yeah, just nonstop actions come in since early this morning, Cal. I've been on this desk since about 5 a.m. I've bet soccer in different countries. I've bet college football. I've bet props. I've bet first quarters. I've bet more extra games than you could ever imagine. And a lot of that live stuff comes in. For example, I bet this morning 20+ extra game sides totals. I think I released maybe 6 or 7 to subscribers that multiple groups got in, and I thought there was still some value because those lines move so significantly. But when you're in the Steam room, you're getting that information in real time. So I urge everyone, especially the handicappers, to come in with your leans all ready to go. And we will be going through the College Board, confirming sides and totals for you as information comes in. And yeah, I'm there to answer all your questions. That goes off as soon as Ohio State and Texas kick. We're ready to go. We'll be live and going probably at least, 60, 90 minutes, maybe 2 hours, cover as much as we can. And next week, it'll be on Sundays leading into NFL kickoff.
That's awesome, guys. Free Steam room today, wt.buzz/SR, like Steam room 830. Everybody is welcome to join here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. VR, you brought us some Steam this week. on Bet On It. We also broke down every single college football matchup from a top 25 perspective. But I want to revisit that Ohio State-Texas game. I asked Art. He said that they are -1.5, -105. They're at the Westgate. I also have a book that is -1.5, -105, or -120 on the money line. Can you give me a little bit of advice? Some of those at home may have the same question. What are your thoughts on which I should be laying? I do like the Buckeyes. I know you're on the opposite side, but if you were sitting in my shoes, how would you bet this?
Yeah, lay the 1.5 -105 with Ohio State, even with the low total. Definitely a better bet than laying that money line right now. I know it makes you feel a little more comfortable thinking if it lands on one, I'd cash my ticket with the money line. I'd lose it with the -1.5. But long term, that -105 is the key. Only having to lay that -105 compared to about -120. Now, if you were only going to be placing one bet for the rest of your life and never going to be betting again, then the number doesn't matter, getting the best of it. What you want to do is cash a ticket. So obviously you'd be looking to lay pick 'em at -120 just in case it does land one. But if you're going to be betting tomorrow, next week, next month, the rest of the college football season, then your goal is to place the most advantageous bets, and laying -105 at 1.5 would be a much better bet than having to lay that money line where it sits right now. And I'm on that. Speaking of the Texas side, Kel, I'll be honest with you. I moved Texas at +3 back in the summer for the groups I work with, but I didn't release that to subscribers. I didn't piggyback that, make it like a premium play, just because it was a little bit too early and it was sitting on a key number. So I knew they were going to get the best of the key number if they didn't think it was going to go higher. And I wanted to see, is this just a case where they're going to look to middle it? Because if you could get a pick 'em and a +3 in a game where the total's being steamed under, low scoring game, high profile matchup, it isn't the worst position to be in. I didn't get involved, like I said, as a premium, but I was hearing nothing but Texas, sharp money, Texas. But just like the Super Bowl, where the books are one-sided after 1 week, once you get into the game day, it comes out to a lot more balanced action. Because when you have two teams like this, number 1A, 1B, you're going to get opinions on both sides. And I think it's not going to be as one-sided as it was days ago. So I think a little more balance for the books on this game than we expected. And I'm on Texas because of the sharps that are on them as well. But again, caution fading Ohio State, especially at home.
All right, Aaron, I hear it. I hear that cell phone buzzing. I know you got plays coming in VR. Yeah. So give everybody a little taste of what they can expect to get in the steam room today. I'm curious to see what has moved since we did bet on it Wednesday morning till now. Was there some buyback? Is there some disagreements? Talk to me.
The biggest stuff is, here's what I'm seeing that's happening Saturday, Kel. Most of the bets on the main board are happening earlier in the week and throughout the week. Come game day, it's like you said, doing some of those buybacks or some of those middles where some information changes and you want to limit your risk on a side. But the majority of action coming in today is all on the extra games, on the derivatives like first quarter, first half, and a lot of props. Since we covered a lot of the main games, here's some of the stuff that came in today real quickly. I know everybody's looking at that Texas Ohio State. Steam the prop under 28.5 Arch Manning rushing yards, under 28.5. And then in FAU Maryland, under 59.5 receiving yards for Farouk, Farook, Farouk, under 59.5 receiving yards. And then Mississippi State Southern Miss, under 3.5 total receptions for Treo Sadon, Seydov, I think something like that. You guys probably know who exactly I'm talking about. Now, here's some of those derivatives that I'm talking about. Northwestern +0.5 first quarter. Northwestern +0.5 first quarter. And then a team total that got steamed everywhere. New Mexico, team total over 7. Over 7 New Mexico team total. And here's some of those extra games real quickly. Arizona State -28. North Texas -24.5. West Virginia -38. Furman +2.5. Georgetown at a pick'em. Over 57 and 58. Duquesne, Pittsburgh. Iowa State -14.5. Under 55.5. Chattanooga. Under 52.5. Maine Liberty. over 46.5. South Dakota, Iowa State, under 51.5. Holy Cross, Northern Illinois, and Connecticut minus 27.5. I know that's a lot of information. I know that's a lot of the extra board stuff, but I'm telling you, there's a ton of value on those. Speaking of the main board, we touched on Cal and Oregon State earlier in the week. I thought that the wrong team was favored. We're starting to see that now. Cal is going the favorite. That's a lot of sharp money that's been betting Cal. A ton of public money on the Oregon State side. That's the only reason we haven't seen a huge shift. But today, where it's game day and you're starting to see more sharp money on Cal, they have more or less no choice. But that's one of those where the public's on one side, the wise guys are on the other. And the other thing that sticks out a lot is 3 teams being bet the heaviest that I'm seeing. Michigan, Alabama, Oregon State. Michigan, Alabama, Oregon State. Those 3 are the most one-sided. It was Texas until today. Starting to see more Ohio State money come in as we approach kickoff. But Michigan, Alabama, Oregon State, as one-sided as you're possibly going to get in college football.
Awesome stuff. At Greek Gambler on all your social channels, at Greek Gambler 7, of course, on TikTok. VR, anything you'd like to leave our audience with? I know you got to get prepped for the steam room here in 38 minutes. He's going to be going live here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Let's hear what else you got for this audience.
Yeah, the dog that they're all betting, the one lot dog that everybody, I'm even seeing money line in this kind of big dog. You usually don't see it. Toledo. Why are they betting Toledo? Why are they betting Toledo like they know tomorrow's, like Toledo's going to win this game outright? We bet over first half. Over in the first half is what we're on. But they like Toledo in that one. And again, it's only week 1. I know there's high profile game, but patience. A lot of these lines have been up for a while. We got a long season of college football. Take your time, long season ahead, do some damage, and go over to WagerTalk.com. Free picks page. I always put a premium on there. Not a free pick, a premium free pick. So head on over to WagerTalk.com. Best of luck the college football season, Kelly. Thanks for having me on Bet On It again this year, and wish you guys all do damage this weekend.
Yeah, if you guys missed it, we filmed a college football preview show as well as college football week 1 episode of Bet On It's up live right now on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. VR is going to join us every single Saturday, bright and early. I appreciate you. Make sure you guys are giving him a follow. Again, go over to the WagerTalk YouTube channel right after the show and get his steam room for free. Looks like Benjamin is waiting in the wings to answer all of your college football questions. So if you guys have a question about a game, we're going to bring him in now. If there's no comments, we're getting out of here. I've got college football to watch. I'm excited. Ross, what do you got going on behind you? Your green screen looks like Ohio State, Texas.
Texas. I mean, the game everybody's talking about, right? But the game I'm not crazy about. I think there's too much uncertainty on both sides of the table for me to make a definitive bet on that game. I don't know, Kelly. I'm not sold on Arch Manning yet. I think he's getting a lot of hype from what I saw in his brief appearances with Texas. He's not been overwhelming to me. So I think I have a little bit of a feeling that he might not be as good, or how could I put it? He's going to be good, but maybe not up to the hype that he came in with.
Ross, you nailed it. This is what I've been saying on every single show this week. Week 1 to me is fading some narratives and fading some hype. Yeah. I truly believe if Arch Manning was as good as advertised, he would have been playing over Quinn Ewers last year. Bottom line, Steve Sarkisian wants that national championship. He wants to get it off his back. He went with the better quarterback last year. So we're going to see what Arch is made of. I completely agree with you. Listen, Texas has been back my entire life. When they were in the Big 12, it's all we heard. Look how loaded this team is. Okay, time to show me how loaded you really are.
Yeah. And, the other part of the equation is betting against Ohio State at the shoe. To me, there's better value on the board, not better games, but better value on the board.
All right, let's go through some of that better value. I know right now, Bill's commenting here about Clemson LSU. You have a 5% play up on that game. Talk about that over at WagerTalk.com, and let's get into some of these other games that you think have better value.
Yeah, I have a 5% best bet on this game. I got the winning side. This game goes at 7:30 tonight on ABC. So watch and win, folks. And my college football over the last 2 years, #1 combined in units earned. Last year, #1 with win percentage and also #1 in units earned. So I'm zeroed in on this game. I'm really excited about it. I'm excited about the whole card today, to be quite frank. It's the first full week of college football, Kelly. How could you not get excited?
Morning. Ross, I text our new producer, Louis D'Onofrio. You guys may have recognized that name from the Kelly and Murray show. He's filling in on Saturdays and Sundays for the great Dan Newbert, so I can give him a little bit of time off. But I text Louis in all capital letters. I was like, get up. It's college football Saturday. It's like Christmas morning. I'm so excited for today. Let's get into some of these games that you think have some better value, which is one game that maybe – right here, let's take Sean's comment. Syracuse and Tennessee is very fishy to me. It's more like 20.5 fishy. I agree. I thought the line at 14.5 would be very telling. I did, however, lay 13.5 here with the Vols. The ACC has been historically horrible against the SEC. 3-15 straight up. Now, that doesn't mean Syracuse won't cover, but I think Syracuse is getting a lot of love after last year, superseding expectations. The Vols lose Nico to UCLA. That's a whole nother bunch of dramatic events. But let's break down the Syracuse-Tennessee game if you have an opinion for me.
Well, this is a tough one for me because I've been a lifelong Syracuse fan, like you have been a Kansas State fan.
Whoops.
And you're right, though, Kelly. Look, they won 10 games last year, but they played probably one of the 5 softest schedules for Power 4 teams last year. And now they're going to be playing one of the toughest schedules. And it starts right here. I mean, some unknowns, 2 new quarterbacks, Steve Angeli, former Notre Dame quarterback, Notre Dame backup, taking over at Syracuse, lost a lot of pieces offensively from last year. Syracuse did, starting with Kyle McCord, who put up record-setting numbers. You lost your tight end in Oronde Gadsden. You lost one of your key receivers, Pena, who transferred to Penn State. And their defense has a lot of question marks. In Tennessee, we know their defense is real good. They also have a new quarterback in Joey Aguilar, who's, now he's stepping up a bit from the competition he's faced, though. So, I would have a small lean laying the points with Tennessee. But again, I think I was going to say caller, the person who commented, is right on the ball. Seems a little bit fishy where you think Tennessee would be a bigger favorite here, and they're not. So I'm going to stay away from the game, but I agree with Kelly. I think small lean on Tennessee is the way to go.
Shout out to everybody in the comment section. We've got over 2,000 watching live on X. We've got 500 or 600 there live on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. A bunch of people on Instagram as well. TikTok got mad at us because we talk about gambling, but that's why we don't even really promote them anymore unless people put out some funny content. All right, some questions here. Let's talk from Rob Christensen. He said, did Art say Kentucky was sharp and then Gianni say his people were hammering Toledo? That is actually what exactly happened. Art said it's all Kentucky money. They're going to need Toledo, and VR saying he's seeing the opposite. Ross, maybe break down this game. I wanted to put Toledo in my money line parlay. Let's call it Monday or Tuesday. I looked really hard at this Toledo team. That line came from 10.5 all the way down, now all the way back up. Here on the odds logic screen, some 9.5, some 10s, depending on where you like to shop. Do you have an opinion on that game? Can you maybe make some inferences here based on the line move and make sense for all the rest of us?
Well, I saw an opener of 11.5, and then this came all the way down to 7.5, and now it's back up to 10. I trust the early money on this. I mean, you look at Toledo, their recruiting class they brought in is #1 in the MAC. They're actually in the 70s nationally in recruiting, which is unbelievable for a MAC school. They brought in some very good transfers in the portal. This is a team that's used to winning under Jason Candle. I just think that, look at the MAC so far, Kelly. I mean, you look at the dogs in the MAC that have played on Thursday and Friday in week 1, they've done awfully well. They're not winning games, but they're covering big numbers. And I think Toledo has a shot to win this game outright, to be quite frank. I'm not sold on Kentucky. last year 3-8 against FBS teams. The only hesitancy I have here is as bad as Kentucky was last year. They did blow out Ohio that won the MAC, but I think Toledo with Jason Candle, this is a guy, he's beaten 2 Power 4 teams in recent years. So I like Toledo here, plus the points.
Somehow I got muted. I'm sorry, Ross. I keep hitting, you know what it is? I got my notepad and I keep hitting my space bar. The joys of doing live shows. It's going to be a rough season, guys, because I'm going to be just ready to run through a brick wall every single Saturday and having way too many coffee. All right. So a couple questions here. I did bet Toledo +8. If you guys saw that on my Pickett Sports, I ultimately did not get to the money line, to the window with the money line. But Ross, kind of convincing. Maybe I better sprinkle just a little bit just in case I was wrong.
Don't get greedy, Kelly. Don't get greedy.
I know, but I just love that plus money. I cannot help myself. Let's get into some of these other questions here in the chat. One of the guys was asking, Kelly, why do you like UCLA so much? So let's talk about that. If you guys want to hear my breakdown, it's up on my X page. I get right into why I like UCLA and Nico with an established run game, that defense. You guys can watch that video over there because now we're going to ask Ross what his opinion is here on UCLA down to 5.5 now at home versus Utah.
I'm not crazy about Nico. I think that he benefited from a great running game last year and also a terrific defense at Tennessee. So we'll see. Now at UCLA, how he'll fare with a mediocre type of club compared to an elite SEC team last year. In Utah, you're looking for a bounce back, right, from the Utes. I have a small lean toward Utah. I didn't use this game today, nor will I bet it. But if you put the proverbial gun to my head, Kelly, I'd have a small lean and have to disagree with you just a slight bit. But, if you have money on UCLA, I hope you win.
Well, I appreciate that, Ross. I just am not buying that Utah hype once again since joining the Big 12. They've had it a little rough. All right, Lemon Cake wants to know about the Nevada team total, 7.5. But ultimately, here's another team getting a ton of hype. Ross, let's talk about this Penn State team. Do you think that they are a national champion contender, or we need to pump the brakes just a little bit?
I did a college football betting preview show with Teddy Covers over at the Westgate last week, as you well know. And I picked Penn State to win the Big Ten.
Okay.
So I'm a Penn State believer this year. I really am. Of course, Teddy brings to my attention because he has to correct me, and that's okay.
That's Teddy's favorite thing to do.
Yeah, James Franklin just can't win big games, and that's a fact. I mean, he's not teasing me. He's stating a fact. But I just think they're going to get over the hump this year. And their defense will continue to be their strong suit. Veteran quarterback coming back for his senior year. I really like Penn State a lot. Today's game, they're laying such a big number, and that over and under is just way. Yeah, I would want to go under on that team total for New Mexico, but I just can't do it on that number that's small. You know what I mean, Kelly? You're talking about in a game like this, Penn State maybe getting 3 deep into the second half.
Yeah, listen, Nevada is not some great Mountain West powerhouse team. They're not a Boise State, except that didn't look so good on Thursday night. But you get the idea. The Boise States of the past, at least from what we've seen previously, this is a Nevada team that could get shut out. 7.5 seems rather fishy, though. I will say that. Just looking at it from the surface level, I'm not buying as much Penn State hype as you. I do think they're going to make the college football playoff. I do think they will be a contender in the Big Ten, but I'm kind of with Teddy in regards to James Franklin. All right, let's talk about Notre Dame-Miami. I know the game's not till tomorrow, but the chat is going nuts about this game. Bill Seibert says Notre Dame's going to run the ball down Miami's throat. I would agree. Here's another game I gave out as my best bet. I laid 2.5 here with the Irish, Ross. Talk to me about the Sunday night game. It's going to be big, as we heard from Art DiCesare at the Westgate Superbook, because it's a standalone game. So it does make me nervous that every parlay is probably going to have Notre Dame money line.
Yeah. Here's the thing with Miami. It's not so much that I love Notre Dame in this game. It's that I don't like Miami. I just get sick and tired. And, maybe it'll break the trend this year. Sick and tired of the hype that Miami gets every year. They seem to be ranked in the top 20. They have a great recruiting class, and they're going to be all that, and they continue to disappoint. Now, they look like they were going to break that trend last year, right? Starting 9-0, and then they lose 3 of their last 4 games. And the real killer for Miami fans was that game they lost at Syracuse with a 21-0 lead, and a game they needed to win to get to the college football playoff. Mario Cristobal, great recruiter, terrible head coach. If that makes sense to you, Kelly, in terms of game day adjustments and in-game decisions, I'll take Marcus Freeman every day, any day over Mario Cristobal. Notre Dame, great running game, great offensive line, and also a great defense. And I think that's going to pay dividends in this matchup. The only hesitancy I would have is C.J. Carr making his first start. And also Carson Beck getting, the former Georgia quarterback's done a lot of winning in his career. So they'll have an advantage there. I'm not so sure Miami's going to have a huge home field advantage here either, Kelly. I mean, I think Notre Dame, first game of the year, holiday weekend, they're going to travel well, especially you get the people from the Midwest who love that Florida weather like Kelly does. So I'd have a lean toward Notre Dame in this spot.
Yeah, I like Notre Dame as well. Mario Cristobal in his career never had back-to-back double-digit win seasons. And last year, they didn't play a single ranked opponent. Funny how that works. I bet
they did. Syracuse ended up being ranked, but they weren't ranked at the time.
Sorry. Yes, correct.
Yes.
It's more or less, in my opinion, that Cam Ward pulled so many games out of his you-know-what because I had the money line on the other side. That Cal money line still stings. Almost a year later, it is what it is. All right, guys, if you have any questions for Ross in the chat, Jeremiah Love over 149 rushing yards. You can get plus 750. Sean. Yeah, listen, I think we can run against Texas, but Texas still has a pretty decent defense. Everybody calm down, plus 750. Sean, you can tweet me if you're correct on that one. I hope you are. How about that? I hope you are correct. I hope Jeremiah Love runs the ball down Texas's throat. All right, Florida State can upset Bama. Let's talk about this game. This is a game that I think has been really under the radar. I know that Art DiCesare mentioned a ton of people are going to play Alabama money line. I'm living down here in Florida. I got a lot of FSU fans who are like, I'm going to bet Bama, emotional hedge. We're going to get our doors blown off. Yet another one of those fishy lines sitting at 13.5.
Yeah, on the money line, Alabama, wow. I mean, you're going to lay that much juice. God bless you. Anyway. Alabama, look, they're going to be good. No doubt about it. Teddy likes them to win a national championship and makes a compelling case for that. However, this is a quarterback who's going to be starting for the first time for Alabama. And Florida State, I like what they brought in. I mean, terrible team last year, right? 2-10, only 1-10 against FBS opponents, catching 13.5 at home. But they bring in Tommy Castellanos, the former quarterback at BC, who is very good. And I like the additions of Gus Malzahn as their offensive coordinator. They also bring in Herb Hand as their offensive line coach. The last 3 times Norvell and Herb Hand and Gus Malzahn were together was at Tulsa, and they produce a 5,000-yard passer and a dynamic offense. So, the money's on Alabama overwhelmingly. But I'm going to take a small shot here with Florida State here, Kelly. I know once in a while you got to have some guts because if you don't, you have no glory.
Sean just mentioned in the chat there's going to be some shockers today. 4-14 for home favorites so far in week 1. Wow, that is quite a stat. I don't have an ability to fact check this right now, but yeah, my buddy texted me last night. Hey, I like Central Michigan, and I kind of blew him off and went to bed. And I woke up and they won outright as double-digit road underdog. So we have seen some nice upsets. Ross, who is your pick to upset? Give me a money line outright winner. We all know I love those barking dogs. My 3 teams are UCLA, Northwestern, and Virginia Tech. If you guys missed my parlay video up there on my Instagram as well as X and TikTok. Ross, let's get a little juicy underdog here. That's one of my favorite segments on Bet On It. We call them barking dogs.
Yeah, well, I like Toledo. I think they're fully capable of pulling the upset. I also like Georgia Southern at Fresno State, and not a huge upset, right? Because actually they went to a 1.5 point favorite in that game. I'm a little something's up with this Northwestern Tulane game. You're looking at Northwestern opening as a 7-point dog. They're down to 4.5 against a Tulane team that's favored to win the AAC, and Northwestern coming off a terrible year. I would keep an eye on that game. I think something's up there, and we may see a potential upset in that contest. And if, again, going out on a limb, that Florida State pick that I just gave you, I just got this eerie feeling that Florida State is going to play much better than people anticipate. And watch out for the Seminoles here with the overhaul they did in the coaching staff, in the transfer portal, and bringing in a new quarterback against a first-time starter at quarterback for Alabama.
Oh, Ross, this Florida State team I've watched so much since I moved down here 4 years ago. Let me tell you, Mike Norvell is going to lose this one in gut-wrenching fashion. I can just see it now.
All right.
I do lean plus the 13.5. I did not take this team. I've got to see something from Florida State. I think that's kind of how I feel about week one. Week 0, week 1, even sometimes week 2. You got to kind of see some of these games play out, especially in the new college football era with the transfer portal. We have new teams with little cohesion. Some of them been practicing a little bit. I'll tell you why I took Northwestern. It's because the BYU transfer quarterback in Retzlaff just got there about a month ago. And now we're asking him to learn a new system, learn an entire new playbook. It's going to be a little rough sledding. I like Northwestern +3 in the first half as well. Hopefully they can get that cover of the 6 and possibly that outright winner. All right, Ross, tell everybody what you've got up over at WagerTalk.com. I know you mentioned your 5% play on LSU Clemson. Anything else the people need to know?
I got a winning sides, 4 of them, including that 5% best bet. A winning side in the 12 o'clock window, a winning side in the 3:30 window, and also a late game, which I call my closer, on late Saturday night. Again, folks, number 1 in college football last year in win percentage and units earned. Number 1 over the last 2 college football seasons, combined units earned. So, I hear a lot of people talk about sharp money. I don't know if any of the sharps are going to top what I did over the last 2 years in college football, and I'm not throwing stones at somebody, but I'm just saying, come on.
Hey, that's why you got to be on the first edition of Last Call. That's why you've been on back-to-back weeks on the Blitz on Thursdays with Brian Power, because right now, number 1 college football handicapper. Let's see if you can't repeat that again this year. I know lots of people are going to be gunning for you over there in the coveted number 1 spot.
Yeah.
But I think you probably like the pressure.
Bring it on. There's a lot of great handicappers at WagerTalk.com. So when I say I'm number 1 in a particular sport, I'm promoting. That's all I'm doing. I know damn well that some of the guys all the guys at the site are top notch, folks. We have a collection of some of the best sports betting experts in all the world at WagerTalk.com. And we also have the top host in all the world of sports betting, and Miss Kelly here. And that's a proven fact.
Well, thank you, Ross. Ariel Epstein's going to try to give me a run for my money. We got a surprise. Joe Madden's going to be doing Last Call on Thursdays.
I love Joe.
And Mondays before kickoff. So Last Call is moving to 4 days a week, guys, going forward, starting this Thursday night. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so you never miss another episode. Ross, as long as you're on the leaderboard, you're staying on Last Call with me. So let's see if you can't have a great opening weekend. Again, if you guys are looking for Ross's place, head over to WagerTalk.com. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us here each and every Saturday morning, bright and early there on the West Coast, 11 a.m. here on the East Coast. Ross, good luck. Thank you to VR.
Thank you for having me.
I need to have a good opening weekend. Thank you to Art DiCesare from the Westgate Superbook joining us out there early every single Saturday morning here on Last Call. And of course, Gianni the Greek, guys, he's up next 15 minutes. He's going to be live here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. Make sure you guys hop in there. It is a free edition of his Steam Room. Bring your pen, bring your paper, because he is going to give you all of that gold. Hope you guys have a wonderful and profitable Saturday. Good luck today, and we'll see you next week.